Hey guys, it is Gwen here from Olive & Oak, and I'm going to show you how to put together our Blooming Initial DIY Kit project. You've got all these beautiful felt florals that are cut, and I'm going to show you how to assemble them and put your whole project together. Now, before we get started, I do recommend grabbing a glue gun and a pair of scissors, or you can also use a fabric glue like Aleene's Tacky Glue. It'll work great. We're going to start things off by painting our letter. You can also use stain. I'm just going to use this makeup wedge to tap, tap, tap on the face of my project and cover the whole thing, and then we'll set it aside to dry. All right, let's start things off easy. We are going to give our little leaves a bit of shape by adding a dot of hot glue in this bottom part here. We're going to pinch and hold, and once it dries, it just gives it a little bit of character. Repeat the process on the other one, and boom, you're done. All right, next we're going to work with our large daisy size. We're going to put some glue in here and glue it kind of in half. Let that hold for just a second, and we're going to do it one more time in half. Add a little bit of hot glue here, and we're just going to kind of mash that bottom part together so that the petals all sort of spring out. How cute! Next, we're going to take the piece with the long fringe and we are going to roll this one. I'm going to put a line of hot glue right along this bottom edge where the fringe is not and just start rolling it into itself. And as I roll it down, I'm going to start to create my flower. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll this whole entire length all the way up until I get to the end. Roll this all the way around, and then I'm going to kind of pinch that bottom part and then kind of play around with my petals just a little bit to fluff them out. And now I've got this really cute little fluffy flower. Super easy. All right, you're ready for the big times. We're going to take our small fringe and our small and medium daisies to create a different flower. Just like our last piece, we are going to add glue along this bottom strip and roll it up. Get this part on here, and I'm just going to roll this piece back on itself just like we did with the last flower. Now I've decided this piece is a little longer than what I need it to be because of how wide that middle part is, so I'm going to snip this excess off right here. You can decide how big you want this piece to be, but it's going to be the center of our flower. So I'm going to snip this piece off. I'm going to go ahead and finish gluing it all the way around. Press that piece in there. And then I've got these little frillies. But we're going to use this as the center of our flower. So what I'm going to do next is take my smaller daisy, put some hot glue right here in the center of it, and I'm going to press my middle into it. Now, sitting there like this, it looks a little funny. So we're going to give it some more shape. Along the side of my blue piece, I'm going to run a bead of hot glue all the way around it. Some of this on here all the way around, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Get that on there, and then I'm going to press my petals up against that to give my flower some shape. So I'm going to kind of smoosh them all in, get my petals pressed up in there. Don't worry about pushing down the middle blue part. You can always refluff it. So get that part in there, and then that's really cute by itself, but we're going to add another layer by adding our next one on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the white, or the glue rather, around my white flower and press it into my medium-sized daisy. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing with the petals. I'm going to push them up into the flower to create a full round piece. Just kind of scrunch it in there a little bit, and ta-da! That was not hard at all. Super cute. All right, next is a fold-over flower. You'll grab your piece that's got the little slits in it that's going to make these cute little petals. And what we're going to do is put a line of hot glue along one edge all the way down. And like the name might suggest, we're going to fold it over. What that's going to do is make our little petals pop up and look really cute. Oops. Press this all down flat. And once I've got that piece folded over, I bet you can guess what we're going to do next. We're going to put some glue on it and we're going to roll it. I'm going to do a little bit at a time, but as I do this one, I'm going to try to show this to you. As I do this one, when I roll it, I try to make my glue kind of go right to the edge of that piece right there so that I end up creating sort of an inward concave on the bottom. So I'm always working my next piece a little further down onto my project. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's going to give me a cool dome-shaped flower. I could go straight across and keep it flat. It's not going to hurt anything. I've done that for flowers before too, but I want this one to have a little bit more curve. So if you look, as I'm gluing kind of right along the edge and even bringing it down just a hair lower. Get this wrapped all the way around. But if you look, my flower sort of has a loop to it. So then it's got this kind of domed top. So I'm going to mash this in just a little bit, make sure it stays nice. Let it dry just a little, and then I can fluff all of my little petals out. And it creates this cute little rosette. All right, next put this little square aside, and we're going to take this circle and we're going to spiral cut it. We're going to start from the outside edge, and start trimming inward. But as we cut inward, we're going to make the thickness of the space we're cutting bigger. So if you look right on my very edge, it's super, super skinny, and then I'm gonna work to go wider as I get closer to the center of the circle. Now, I will say I went skinnier than I usually do when I started this one, but it still works out. And as I get to the middle of my circle, eventually I'm gonna come to a point where we're gonna stop. So let me lay this out and you can kind of see where I started with a really thin part all the way to this thicker section in the middle. Now, I bet you can guess, we're gonna put some hot glue on it and we're gonna roll some things. So I'm gonna put some glue right here. My first one, I kind of just fold the first part over and then start to roll, especially when I started as thin as I did. But we're gonna work our way around. Sometimes it's easier to hold it up like this. Sometimes it's easier to lay it down flat and glue it. Kind of personal preference here. Put some more glue as I go. I try to do small sections at a time so the glue doesn't set up and get hard before I get to it. So roll this in here, and I'm gonna spiral all the way into the inside of my flower. I can do it tighter or looser and give it a little bit different look. But when I get to this middle section, glue this part real quick. When I get to this middle section here, what I'm gonna do with this kind of weird piece is just put glue all over it, and I'm gonna tap it up into the bottom of my flower, and that's gonna kind of hold everything together and give me a kind of a foundation for it all. So I'm gonna press that piece in there, and then I can tug on my petals a little bit to kind of fluff it out. Pull these pieces around a little. All right, now I'm gonna go back to that little tiny square and I'm gonna cut a little circle shape. It does not have to be perfect. If you wanna cut a heart, you can cut a heart. All kinds of different shapes you could do. I'm just cutting, I'm not even gonna call it a circle. We're gonna call it a round shape. Trim this piece off here, and I'm just gonna add a little dot of glue. Oops. A little dot of glue right here and put it into the center of my flower. It's just gonna add a little bit of contrasting color and give me a cute little flower. All right, you did it. So we're gonna take all of our pieces and get ready to arrange them. All right, so I've got my letter, and I'm just gonna kind of lay out the pieces how I think I want them to go. I lay it out before I start to glue pieces on so I can adjust them and move them around as I need to, but I like how this looks. All right, so I'm gonna move these pieces back out of the way and kind of start from the bottom layer up. Behind each leaf, I'm gonna put just a little dot of glue. I don't need to cover the whole thing in glue. It will still hold just fine. If I wanted to move these leaves around a little bit more, I could trim these pieces, but I kind of liked where they sat. So I'm just gonna put one little dot of glue behind each leaf. Get it kind of stuck in place there. I'm gonna do the same with my lower piece and get all of those glued into place, and then I can start adding my flowers. All right, last one. Now I'm gonna start, pull some of these little strings off. Now I'm gonna go in and start putting my flowers into place. I know I liked that one right there, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some glue on the bottom of it and press it down and kind of fluff my pieces out. I'm gonna take my next one and kind of give it, instead of gluing it flat down, I'm gonna give it a little bit of angle and kind of tuck it up underneath that one because I want these to be a fairly close cluster. This one here, I'm gonna tuck kind of tight into there. I'm gonna add some more glue here and tuck it up underneath. And then now, since I have so much of this blue and white right there, I wanna take the contrasting color to put in between there. I think I'm gonna putting a leaf in there. I usually put my leaves in last so I can kind of figure out where it needs some spacing. So I'm gonna stick this piece in and sort of tuck it there between the flowers. That way I've got some of all the colors spread out. And I'm pretty sure that leaf is gonna go right there. I'm gonna take this last one and kind of same idea, since I've got a white flower and a purple flower, I'm gonna put this blue up top in here, and same idea, I'm just gonna kind of tuck it in and kind of squish it in there. Fluff some of my pieces up, and then I'm gonna figure out the placement of my leaves. I know this one I liked right there, so I'm just gonna put some on this bottom part here and sort of push it back in to the spot that I had it. Twist it just a little bit and fluff it out. And then I gotta figure out where I wanna put this one. Yeah, I liked it better on the top. All right, so I'm gonna put some hot glue on this piece here. I'll kind of show you what it looks like too. I'm gonna fluff this piece and just sort of stick it in there. Luckily, the hot glue really can stick to just about any spot and be good to go. Pull off my little glue stringies, fluff some of my petals up a little bit, and my letter is ready. Pretty cute, huh? And there she is. She's done. There's my letter with all my florals added to it, and I think it looks pretty cute. Be sure to follow along for more craft tutorials and new projects.